Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your MN26 note guide, where we're going to talk about the midsegment theorem. This is connected to section 5.1 in your textbook. The midsegment theorem goes a little something like this. If you have a triangle, it doesn't matter what kind of triangle, but if you have a triangle and you have, for instance, the segment BC, or the side of BC of the triangle, we put a midpoint, and we're going to denote that by putting a segment equal sign. And we're going to call that point D. And then over here with the other side of the triangle, CA, we're going to say that there's also a midpoint. We'll call that E, and we'll show that this length equals that one, which implies that it's a midpoint. And then from there, if we connect those two midpoints, D to E, we've created what's called a midsegment. It's as easy as that. Now the midsegment has some interesting features in that it will be parallel to the opposite side. So DE segment is going to be parallel to BA, and the length of DE will be half the length of that side BA. So let's say BA is 10 units. That means that length DE is going to be 5 units. So that's really the relationship between the midsegment and the side opposite of the midsegment. So up here, let's fill in some spaces. It says the segment connecting the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is blank to the third triangle, that's parallel to the third side, and is blank as long as that side. It is half as long as that side. So a midsegment is literally just a segment that connects the two midpoints of a triangle. So coming down here, there's going to be some practice problems, and I'm going to get you started, and then you're going to pause this video and try some on your own here. It says MP is the midsegment of triangle LNO. Find the value of X. So if this is the midsegment and NO is 16, that means then that MP is going to be 8 because it's half the length. Now this number 2 problem is kind of the same idea, but of course you're given the length of the midpoint in this case, and the length of the side of the triangle is going to be double that. So instead of being, so ON, the length of ON is going to be 14. Now let me do one more with you, and then I'd like you to work all the way through number 8 on this note guide. So if you look at number 3, we do have a midsegment. P here is the midsegment, so this is going to be parallel to this line, or segment, excuse me. But here it's interesting that they're asking about, they say that LP is 4, and we want to know what PO is. And PO is going to be the same length, which is 4, because again, P is the midsegment. So this length is equal to that length right there. So number 3, X is going to equal 4 simply because you're talking about that the midsegment is dealing with midpoints. So P right here is a midpoint to OL. So try numbers 4 through 8 on your own, and then I'm going to work 9 and 10 with you. Welcome back. On the screen right now, I do have the answers to number 4. Number 4 is 9. Then over here, 5 through 8, I have the written answers down, and I put stars by 6 and 8 because if there's going to be questions, it's going to be right there. Where if you're looking at EJ, EJ is going to equal JF because it's a J is that midpoint. But the other thing to note is that that length of EJ is going to equal GK. So if you look at this length here is going to equal this length here, because again the midsegment is this midsegment is half of this full segment, and half of that full segment is the length of EJ. The same thing goes with number 8 And we're going to reiterate that idea down here on problems number 9 and 10. So number 9, it says, or actually the instructions for this problem is use a diagram of triangle X, Y, Z. So we have X, Y, Z triangle, and it says that we have U, which is a midpoint, we have V, which is a midpoint, and we have W, which is a midpoint. And it says if UW right here is 4x minus 1 and YZ all the way from here to here is 5x plus 4, what is the length of UW? So we eventually want to find the length of UW. Now we talked already about the relationship that 2 times the midsegment is going to give you the length of that opposite side. So we already know that 2 times that UW, oops, let me try writing it properly here, is going to give you the length of YZ. So that idea that there's 2 of the UWs that will equal the length of that other side of the triangle, YZ. Now we can put in what we know. So 2 UW we know is 4x minus 1, and YZ we know is 5x plus 4. And we can solve for x, and that will give us our unknown. So again, 2 times the UW length is going to give us that side length of YZ. If we solve here, we distribute the 2. So we have 8x minus 2 equals 5x plus 4. We need to consolidate or move our x's to one side. I'm going to move them to the left side, so I'm going to subtract my 5x. I have to keep stopping my video because I have announcements going over the PA every 1 minute. Okay, so we have 8x minus 5x here, which gives me 3x minus 2 equals 4. You add your 2 to both sides to solve for x. We have, I'm going to bring it up here, we have 3x equals 6. You divide out by 3, and you end up with x equals 2. So our unknown value is x equals 2. Now they're not asking us for the x value, they're asking us for the length of UW. Now if UW is represented by 4x minus 1, as the original problem states, then we can put that x value of 2 right in and solve, and we get it 4 times 2 is 8, minus 1 is going to give you 7. So UW's length is 7 units. Okay, so first set up an equation, solve for x. Once you solve the x, then find the length of the side segment that you're interested in. Now, number 10, it says find the length of YV. YV is right here. Now, notice again that we're not talking about that full triangle side, we're talking about half of the triangle side. So really, if you think about it, YV and UW are going to be the same exact length. So I don't even need to do any calculation. I know that YV is going to equal 7. So just a couple again to kind of recap. The midsegment is going to be just a segment that connects the midpoints of 2 sides of a triangle. The relationship that midsegment has to that opposite side is that it's going to be parallel to that side, and it's going to be a relationship that it's going to be the half the length of that opposite side, or 2 times that midsegment is going to give you that opposite side. And that, from that information, we're able to do all these problems on this note guide. So we'll take any questions you have tomorrow in class. Thanks for tuning in.